Yo, what is up guys, Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So, Chris Billam Smith defeats Isaac Chamberlain by a 12-round unanimous decision to retain his European and Commonwealth Cruiserweight titles. I have to say, this was a really good fight. Now, on paper, I felt this was a competitive matchup going in, but stylistically, I didn't really expect that sort of fight. I was expecting a little bit of a cagey affair with some holding, some mauling. I was kind of expecting a messy fight, I can't lie. But this fight, it was messy in stages, don't get me wrong, but it was messy in a good way. There was a lot of trading, a lot of inside fighting. There was some really good exchanges. Both guys were hurt in this fight. There was some blood as well. Isaac Chamberlain got a cut late on, and he got some bad damage to his, I believe it was his left eye. Yeah, really good fight. And yeah, Chris Billam Smith won the fight, unanimous decision. I believe all three scorecards were 117-111, which I felt was about right, to be honest. It was competitive, but there was only one winner, and that was Chris Billam Smith. Early on, this fight was really back and forth, though. First round, Billam Smith, I think we all realised that he would be the aggressor here. He's the bigger man, the stronger man, the harder hitter, but not quite as skilled as Isaac Chamberlain, I would say. So it was always down to him to force this fight, and that's what he tried to do in the first round. Isaac Chamberlain was getting some good jabs off when he was on the outside, but the problem with, the problem for Isaac Chamberlain, he could never really keep this fight on the outside to where he could box and manage the contest. Billam Smith was making it rough and ugly, which doesn't suit Isaac Chamberlain's style. And yeah, round one, I felt Billam Smith did the more effective work. I felt his pressure, his work rate superseded the single punches of Isaac Chamberlain, though Chamberlain was picking some nice right uppercuts off the ropes. Round two was a really good round. Billam Smith actually started quite strongly, but he got buzzed I think Isaac Chamberlain caught him with a short right hook up close, and Billam Smith was definitely buzzed. Isaac Chamberlain tried to follow up, and he landed a few more shots on Chris Billam Smith, but Billam Smith, he rode out the storm, and towards the end of round two, he caught Isaac Chamberlain with a big clubbing shot, and Isaac Chamberlain looked hurt. So round two was a back and forth round. That could have gone either way. Rounds sort of 3, 4 and 5 I felt were all super close. Isaac Chamberlain definitely was picking out the better single punches, the more eye-catching shots, whereas Chris Billam Smith, his work rate was superior and he was the aggressor, but his shots weren't quite as flashy. They were more clubbing, round the side, looping, that sort of thing. But Chamberlain was fighting well off the ropes at stages, but at the same time, while he was picking good shots, he was giving up a lot of ground because Chris Billam Smith was working, and he was working more. And that was Isaac Chamberlain's problem in this fight. He spent far too long on the ropes, and in those moments he would always get outworked, even when he was landing some good single shots. But after 5 rounds, I felt this fight was very close going into the midway point of this bout. I felt it was very close. You could have had it two rounds to 3 either way. Second half of this fight, particularly from round 7 onwards, I felt Billam Smith really started to put his foot on the gas, and the work rate of Isaac Chamberlain really started to drop. It is worth noting that Isaac Chamberlain had a bad eye, and it was getting worse progressively as this fight played out. I mean, that could have definitely been a factor for Isaac Chamberlain in this bout. Maybe that is why his work rate started to drop as this fight went on. But round 7 onwards, I felt that Billam Smith he showed to be the guy who wanted it more. He was fighting with much more conviction, and the fight was being fought in his wheelhouse, which was up close. He wanted to keep on Isaac's chest, and that usually happened when Isaac was on the ropes. There was occasions where Chamberlain would come back. He would actually turn the tide on Billam Smith. He would spin out and then put Billam on the ropes and land a couple of shots. But these moments were too few and far in between. So round 7 onwards, I felt that while Chamberlain had some success, it was more fleeting. Whereas, Billam Smith was just far more active, far more aggressive. And, in the second half of this fight, he definitely pulled away from Isaac Chamberlain. But I have to say, credit to both men for putting on a really good show. This was actually quite short notice. I believe this fight was announced at like 5 weeks notice or something like that. So, both guys had a short training camp. But considering that, I felt both guys put on a really good show. I think Chris Billam Smith's one of those guys who is a bit better than domestic level, but he's talking about world titles and things of that nature. I can't see him beating Jay Opataya, and that is who they're talking about him fighting. He's not going to fight Lawrence Okolie because they're stablemates, and I don't think he'd beat him anyway. Billam Smith at world level will struggle. If I was Billam Smith, if I was managing Billam Smith, I would say try to go after Makabu. I think Makabu is the most beatable world champion at cruiserweight, But yeah, I think Billam Smith will struggle at world level. I think he's a good sort of European level guy, but above that level, I think he will struggle. As for Isaac Chamberlain, Isaac Chamberlain's a weird one. I've always felt Isaac Chamberlain has some nice skills, some nice little movements in there, some good little, good accuracy on the inside, good punch selection, some nice, he can roll with shots really well. Isaac Chamberlain's been involved in some big training camps with Alexander Usyk, Deontay Wilder, and you can see with his style why they would want him in their training camp. He's got some talent, he's got some ability, but Isaac Chamberlain always strikes me as the sort of guy who's stuck in that sort of sparring partner mentality, That's how I see it. His career's never really took off like that. And also one more thing as well with Isaac Chamberlain, I've never really seen him as a massive cruiserweight. There's a lot of big cruiserweights out there, and Isaac Chamberlain's just not that big, but he's too big for light heavyweight, so he's one of those guys who is stuck between a rock and a hard place. But I would like to see Isaac Chamberlain come back at domestic level. Since the Okolie fight, his career has been so stop-start. He's been super inactive and things of that nature, but I'd like to see him have a run at domestic level, see what he can do. And as for Billam Smith, we'll see what he does. I think he's going to get a world title shot, but we'll see how he does. Anyway, share your thoughts below. I felt this was a really enjoyable fight, but what did you think? Share your thoughts below. Peace.